Rajisot.
Two, one, go. And we are live. Hello guys, karibuni sana to the show. My name is Simon Mwangi and this is
my name is George Njuguna.
And of course umesikia George Njuguna ako hapo, and today we are joined by Moses Kagochi all the way from Netherlands, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Karibu sana Mose. I'll give you time to introduce yourself properly so that people get to know you before we start the show.
Yep. My name is Moses Kagochi. I'm a founder of Hockey Farm Sports. Apparently, I'm excited because tomorrow will be our anniversary, 60th anniversary from 2014. April 16, that's when we started. Right now, I'm a coach. I'm taking coaching as a profession. And back home also, I coach Kenyatta University. I'm a coach's educator for International Hockey Federation. Basically, that's the basic of it.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show. Karibu sana. Njugush, salimia watu properly before we begin.
Watu Nguya mkoaje? Kwa poa. Leo Simon ndiye ako kwa dereva kwa kiti, so yeye ndiye anatuongoza.
Sawa. So Njugush made a comment and said that I'm the only one who's not wearing red today, so why not? I wore all my red shirts this week, so the only shirt I think I haven't worn that is red near Man U. And if I wear that, I have two Arsenal fans here will kill me.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, so guys,
it is good you recognize people.
Before we go any further, if you have, sorry?
It's good you recognize Arsenal fans.
Yes, thank you.
Have you noticed there are very few Manchester United fans who come here?
Last Wednesday we had a Man U fan in Tracy, so
yeah, after how long?
After 1 week.
Anyway, continue.
So guys, if you are joining us, remember this is the Hockey Republic. Today we are hosting Moses Kagochi, who's a coach, coach's educator. He's also one of the directors and people who work with Hockey Farm Sports. So before we continue, if you have any questions, comments, or queries, make sure you put them in the comment section below. Njugush will be going through them, and we'll be able to ask Moses as we go. Who knows? Probably we'll also add a few people in the call today. I'm on Onaje Njugush.
That's true. Actually, we can send if anyone wants to join in the call today. We can actually pick calls and you can ask Moses directly. So if you'd like to listen, if you'd like to ask a question, that just send us a message on this live link, and then we'll give you a call, a dial number, and then you'll be able to join us in the call.
Yeah. So let's continue. Mose, I think the first thing, people need to know you more in terms of the hockey and in terms of your career besides hockey. So tell us your brief history of hockey, when you started playing, what you've been doing in school, what is your career, and then the floor is yours.
Thank you. First and foremost,
tell us your brief.
I brag from being in the big school, the Jamhuri High School, you know. So that's why I went to school from 1990 to 93. I started playing hockey there in Jamhuri High School. And I think there was a lot of very big influence from three groups. Number one, there was Intercapital hockey team, which was coached by the late Tobias Oduor. There was Karate Axiom. Okay, and lastly there was Breweries, which came together when we were in school. So basically, I used to go and watch them train, and I started playing hockey in Jamhuri High School. And from the Form 2, I started playing for training and playing for the school team. That time, Jamhuri High School was a big name. We had names. We had people like Moses Aura, like Ajit Pal Lal Singh. We had some internationals like Gilbert, who played for the national team. So the late Rahim Osman, the Kenyan international goalkeeper. So basically, Jamhuri High School by itself was a powerhouse, and so I think, and it was like a culture there. So that's when I started playing hockey for Jamhuri High School. And it was so tight that I remember in the under 18 and under 18 and under 21, a lot of players who came from Jamhuri High School, and I think that's what cultivated. But most of all, it was every weekend there are tournaments in Jamhuri High School. So from Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, your leisure time was just hockey, and I think it really played a big part in me playing hockey. Then from there, initially, Kenya Breweries hockey team had some people there, and that's when Wazalendo was formed, and some players went to Park Road, and the rest of us remained in Wazalendo. We were the founder members, because it was very interesting, because when you used to, that time they used to play what you call the Nairobi League. It was very famous. So you can imagine 7 players or 6 players from Jamhuri High School. The players will come and wait for us for the bell to ring, and off we go to play. So it was basically, hockey was really played a lot during that time, and there was a lot of influence of hockey. After that, I did some, after high school, I did some courses in marketing, and most people don't understand that I'm a trained marketer by profession. I worked for Samia Africa for about 9-10 years. So my background, especially, I'm in marketing. But after some time, after working for so long, I decided to follow my passion, and I think that's when I decided to go to hockey. That is start coaching. That's basically what I've done. But hockey has been always on the background in everything I do.
So before the show, you were discussing about your career, your history in the game, and you said you started playing in 1990. I think Jugush said that ndio alikuwa anaanza class 1 or something. I won't say
umeamua kunianika.
Where I was. Told you I'll get you someplace. Last time ulinianika. So and basically and basically, Mose, we are saying since 1990 till now, those are 30 good years, and you started coaching sometime in 2010. So at what particular point in time throughout your 30 years in coaching, probably leading up to 2010, was the turning point where you said, I want to stop playing, I want to concentrate in coaching?
I think mine was long coming, because I had the privilege of playing for the Kenya juniors, the 18. The time the India teams used to come, teams from Germany used to come. But I think there's a time where I got a job, and my job involved a lot of times in the office, so I could not really train as much and play as much as I wanted. And so it reached a place where, as much I really wanted to play the game, the environment was not conducive for me to play. So that's when I started thinking about what can I do. One thing I like talking about is that hockey kept me out of trouble. I grew up in Ngara. I went in Jamhuri High School, and the area I was living in, it's either you're into sports or academics, but the influence there was basically a lot of people who grew up went into crime. So basically, I feel hockey in a way saved my life, because if you notice, from Monday to Monday, it's either you're from school and hockey. So I felt that maybe I can give back to the sport, and it started just like a thought. And when I was working in South Africa, in Malawi, I was stationed there. I met a South African international coach. His name is Alistair Fredericks. He was the first black player to play for South Africa, and he started telling me how important it is to give back to the sport after playing the sport, and I think I bought to his philosophy, and from there I did some trainings with him, and that's what actually started my journey to learn more about coaching and to progress. And in the back of my mind is always to give back to the sport, because I believe not only me, there are so many people that they are living better now because of hockey. So I think that's where my turning point came, when I was able to play so much, and hockey has done so much for me. So I felt that it was wise to give back to the sport.
And it's like everything fell into place really quickly for you. Round pegs into round holes, square pegs in square holes, where we see you are able to travel to these countries, say Netherlands, sometime in Germany. Can you say that the hockey gods were and are with you, or what can you say about everything just falling in place for you in terms of this path you decided to take?
First and foremost, I've always been a firm believer of, if you want to do something, you have to put everything in it. And as I said before, at that time, people will tell you it's not doable. You know, you cannot do it. But I feel by the relationship, the conversations I had with Alistair Fredericks, and I saw what he was doing in his country and how he was using coaching as much as developing people, but also how he also developed himself. I thought it's something to try. So locally it was not possible, and it's not by anything bad, but I think the environment we have back home, it's very few people at that time took sports, especially hockey coaching, very seriously, like a career, you know. And so, just like if you're an IT person, you have to keep on educating yourself, because it's changing. So I decided I'll take that risk and see how far I can go with it. And it has involved a lot of finances, a lot of coaching courses, and just trying to attach yourself with people who think the same way. Yes, so I will say what somebody said, that he realized the harder he worked, the luckier he became. So I think my mind was set up on doing whatever I'm doing right now. But I also got right people to guide me through the process. Yeah.
Good.
So,
let me pick up. Yes. Picking up from where you've just left, and this is regarding coaching. We are at a place whereby many of the players and coaches, and especially here in Kenya, and you can give us the experience that can rather what you're doing as a coach back in the Netherlands. What are you doing with your players right now? now that you can't go into the field, you can't do practicals, or rather physical, you cannot have a physical meeting or a physical training for that matter. So how are you doing it with the current group of players that you have?
Yeah, wow, it's very interesting because the biggest, one of the biggest things that I've learned here is that coaching is not only physical. Actually, the modern hockey requires a lot of decision making, and so right now what you're doing, either 1v1, 1-by-1 with players, is just to get a lot of feedback, on what they think they need to do to improve, and it's basically a discussion. Secondly, the coaching team also, we are able to sit down and discuss and decide what areas of training should we improve on. Okay. Now remember, this is based on the games that we've played. So video plays a very big role, because we watch how the players have played before, the mistakes we make individually and as a team. And now we, at this time is when we start discussing about them. You understand? Like, and I think the most important question to ask is what, and I think Simon knows it. I used to like asking this a lot, is that what do you think we can do differently? Basically, so that we help the players start seeing the game, but also they know that they're very, very important, because as a coach, I can talk as much as possible, but the one who is inside the pitch is the one who has to make the decision. So what we are really trying to build on right now is a decision making of the players inside the pitch in different scenarios. And that one cannot be done only in the pitch. So, and this is what you're talking about the mental part. So we give them scenarios, and they are able to break the scenarios and in different spaces in the pitch, and sometimes we can decide to do a virtual game, that if you are found in this situation with this kind of players, what are your options? So I am not coaching. They're the ones who are going to try and see what they can do. Now from there, I am able to evaluate if we are speaking the same language. So at a time like now, there's a lot of feedback going on, a lot of questions being asked, and the hardest thing, a lot of hard truth, because sometimes you have players who are very good, they are very talented, but sometimes they're not playing a lot. So now this is the time we are trying to analyze why and what they should do to improve. But the most important thing I think we should do right now as coaches is educate our players. Right now coaching has gone to be player-centered, not coach-centered. It's all about the players. So we have to give them as much information as possible, so that they have the tools to make decisions. And I think that's where these countries are really, really ahead, because for example, they have playbooks. You understand? So for example, if I'm the club I'm coaching, there are certain values and certain playing attributes that is required of the team. So these things are put down in times of points, and so it becomes that the players know the values that are required. They understand what is required in different situations. Okay, and this is first mentally. Yeah. So after going through this, and then we go to the ground, the players already know the different scenarios and the decision making they're supposed to make in different phases of the game and different environment part of the game. So I think it's a very big role here, because I think that's where the change is. That's where we need to really change, because we have a lot of by God's grace, I've traveled to many places, and there's so much talent in Kenya. I'm telling you, the talent we have in Kenya, it's so immense and so big. But now where we need to work on is that small part of decision making.
Which brings me to the question now. The facilities that you see right now, you can compare both countries. Are the facilities you're using at this point, are we able to still take advantage of what we have? For example, you can get in touch. I'm sure you will use Skype or even Zoom to talk to your players. Are there tools that you can mention to us that you're using there that us here back home coaches are able to take advantage of and use at this point in life?
Oh yes, in fact that's easy. In fact, the easiest thing we're using is WhatsApp. Yeah, we are using WhatsApp, and because we already have groups, we are able to make maybe make a training exercise, and share it with the players, and just ask them, what do you think about it? If you're in this situation, so basically everybody has a smartphone. So basically, and I think that's the what do I say? The basic way to do it, because in the long run, is being able to put the whole group to think in the same way. Yeah. So, and I think for me, with the team I'm working with in Kenya, Kenyatta University, that's what I'm doing. And sometimes I'll post something and I'll ask them, what do you think about this? And so you let them now start thinking about it, and it really helps, because later the players start picking things and understanding why sometimes a coach will say you should not dribble and pass, because you've already worked on that. So I think it's the basic thing I think is being able to work in groups. That's the most important thing, because the first principle of FIH is that there is individual skill, then team skill. So the team skill, it's involved the group, and so I think it's very, very important for us to understand that as long as we're able to control our group, it becomes easy for us to work on certain elements that we need to develop.
Okay. Before I let Simon pick up the next question, if you have any question for Moses, please comment on the on this link, or if you'd like to even call in and answer and ask the question live on air, please just hit us up, and then we'll definitely give you a code, and you'll be able to log in and be able to talk to Moses live. Simon, over to you.
Now, you spoken about you as coaches communicating to players. Players need to learn. Now let's focus on the player, as Luis on the pitch. The player is at home, and let's come back to not afford to buy a small turf to put in the back. What can some of the things we can do, let's say, while we are indoors, because most of us don't have access to training.
I think the most important thing is just going back to number one, to work on our posture. I think one of the biggest problem I have noticed, not only in Kenya but everywhere we go, is that if our posture, our playing stance is okay, every other skill will be easy. For example, if I'm holding the stick the right way, it becomes easy for me to dribble and to receive and pass. So the first thing I'm trying to do with some of my players, the junior teams that I work with, is just to discuss with them about why. Why should we hold the stick this way? Why should our footwork be this way? Why should I be able if I am dribbling, why should I be able to see the ball and see up? So we start emphasizing on that. So first thing I think right now at home, if you have a stick and ball, the most important thing is try to get the technical part of being in the right posture and being able to hold the stick in the right way. And that one is just simple by dribbling. I know it looks very simple because people want to do a lot of fancy things, and I think this is where sometimes we get it wrong. People want to do a lot of fancy things, but if the grip is not right, if the posture is not right, in a normal playing situation, you'll not be able to get it. So for me, I really like it doing the old school way, that where we take a stick and ball, try to do different things, so until I'm in a position, my playing position, where I'm very comfortable, I'm able to see up and see the ball. Then now I can start training the dribbles and the passing in the same posture. So that is one. Two, I think we need to build the strength of our hands. And I remember when I was growing up, there was the coach I talked about, Tobias Oduor. He used to tell the players to run with the sticks in the left hand, because we didn't have gyms that time, And so as you get used to your stick, you develop the strength, and so which means you're comfortable with the stick. So as long as so it's basically, how can I say it in simple way? It's just for you to feel the stick, just to be very comfortable with your playing posture and playing the way you hold your stick is very, very important. And during this time, I think this is a time where we can correct that a lot, because there's and I think you, Simon, even sometimes when you coach, you see that people hold the stick wrong, and no matter how long you try to correct that, no matter how long you want to go to the next phase of the training, it will not be right until they get the simple things first. So I think right now is the best time to work on that.
I think it's, as you said, it's important we focus on what we can do at home. I was making some fun with one of my friends. I was telling her that if she is alone in the house, she does not have cones, she can put her ceramic mugs and then try to dribble in between and make sure she doesn't break any one of them. Then the skill will be there when she goes to the pitch.
Which is true. Which is very true.
It is true. So now we've spoken about the individual player, and I liked what you said about the team unit. You as the coach having WhatsApp groups. Some coaches have Skype meetings, other Zoom meetings. I've received reports, or I've talked to guys who've said that their coaches send them physical training on WhatsApp groups. But now speaking now in terms of the team, how can they train together other than what you've said, the coach giving them like mental quizzes, trying to get them in the rhythm? Do you think it's time that coaches, let's say for example, we have free tools like Skype, they use that time to train the team in terms of systems? Because we know that's one of the weaknesses, especially in Kenya, that most of us coaches don't take time to train systems. Like most guys won't know this, Njugush, and I can guarantee you this, even if you know this, you can write in the comment section, that hockey, you do not start the formation from defense going to forwards. You start from forward line going to defense. I've seen coaches, so if you tell an international coach that you're going to play 4-4-2, you're telling him or her that you're going to start with 4 forwards and then all the way down to 2 defenders. So Mose, now coming back, do you think it's high time coaches take advantage of that, train in terms of systems, educate, as you've said, educate our Kenyan players, as Kenyan players, in terms of systems of play?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good question because I think hockey I think it's the most systematic game. You know, structures in hockey is everything, and again, this is a very, very good opportunity to start now explaining to them when you talk about you're going to play 4-4-2, and because there are many different types of 4-4-2. There is a diamond 4-4-2. There is a flat 4-4-2. So this is a time now, again, we go back to what we are talking about, educating them about these different systems and why the pros and cons of these systems. And I think this is the best scenario where now, like now for me, what I do, this is one of my secrets, is that if I'm watching a game, before they start playing, I take a picture because basically that's the structure they are going to play the whole part of the game. I don't know if you have seen that, Simon. But before people play, they only set up in the system they're going to play. So are you able to take such a picture and now send it to the players and say, this is how we stand? Is this the system we play? Why do you think we play this system? So I think just to emphasize on what the question you have asked right now, this is the best opportunity for us to discuss about those systems. Okay? And now, systems are just inclined to the players you have. You see, so I cannot play a 4-4-2 system if I don't have very creative forwards because they're playing two forwards up, you know? So basically, it's a very good time for you to evaluate the players you have vis-a-vis the systems you're going to play. But guess what? Just because we said it's a player-based system, the players are the ones who are contributing to what should be done and why. So basically that all of them now end up training. So that's what I was talking about, mental training. So for example, if I'm a right back and the ball has gone to the left back, yeah? So the right back should say, what should I do? Just to make sure that the system is playing. So what is happening? You end up coaching the players are coaching themselves, but in a form of discussion. Okay, and I think it's really, really important for us to emphasize that. And again, that's why I'm saying, have we given the players an environment where they can question?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying one of the biggest problems that we've had is that most of our systems, the coach is everything. So so if a player has a different thought, it's not very easy. But now, in a scenario, the scenario you're looking at is that where players can ask questions, that what happens if I'm here? Can I do this? You see, so it becomes that players are also thinking, not the coach is the only one who's thinking. But I concur with you, Simon. This is the best time to work on how the team should play and why we should play that.
Okay. Let me quickly go through the comments and the questions before we move to the next set of questions that we had prepared for you. Peter says, Peter Sitera says, the target audience seems to be our lower tier structures, for example, primary and even secondary schools. How vast do you intend to share this kind of knowledge for them? Because remember, it's not just this information we are having. This player starts from secondary, and some of them even start from primary. So if there are coaches like Peter, who I know is in Kakamega High School, what is he able to do from that point, so that if this player comes to play for Western Jaguars, how is the foundation for him to begin even at this point?
Jagush, I think you've known me for so long. My cry has always been that we have a lot of talent down there in the secondary schools. My challenge has been that we are not investing in terms of knowledge. Those are the people who we are supposed to work on. And I've always spoken my mind out. And when I'm in Kenya, basically, I try as much as possible to interact with those teachers in the grassroots and showing them, for example, showing them the right way to coach and why we coach that. How do we build skills? Peter has asked a very good question. I think, and when I come back, I was really trying to come up with some different kind of programs. For example, I had started a program known as Coaches Mentorship Program, and yeah, we had started with Simon before siasa zikakuwa mingi sana, but
was because he
what
stage.
Yeah. My desire, Juguna, is this. I have been in a situation where I have seen a lot of things, and I have seen things work here and things can work back home. My cry has always been that we need to invest with the first people who get in touch with these skills. Why? Because the problem I am having in university and when I'm working with the national team is that we find that we have very, very talented players, but their basic education was not very good. So again, it affects his performance. But if you look at the reverse of that, if we invest a lot in the coaches and the sports teachers' education at the grass level, I promise you, as we go back from the high school to the university to the clubs, the quality will be there. So for me, my call to Peter is that before I came to Netherlands, we had a very good workshop in Bungoma. And these are the things we were discussing about, working with the teachers from the grassroots, because some of them, they are coaching because they love the game. So they use the knowledge they gathered during their days to help. The motive is right, but the content in today's hockey will not be so much. Will not really put them to a level where we will want them when they come from high school to the universities, to the clubs, to the national team. But this is a call. All coaches should try and mentor the teachers and coaches at a youth level. That's what's going to set us apart. Yes.
Okay, good. Ajaya Simba is asking if you've ever coached a basketball team. Probably you can throw that out there before we continue.
I've never coached a basket. That's an interesting question, Simba. I played basketball in high school a little bit, but I have managed. I was a team manager of the Yana basketball team.
So that's where he seems to have seen you.
Yeah, I've been a team manager for some time ago.
Yeah.
You have questions,
Yeah. Also, based on the discussion you're having about systems, I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. Forgive me if I pronounce it wrong.
Yeah,
it's in Del Park.
Says, yes.
Yeah.
Just to help you guys with the topic, when you talk, for example, you say 3-3-4-1 system. You are saying 3 forwards, 3 midfielders, 4 defenders, and obviously a goalkeeper. When you say 2-4-4-1, 2 high strikers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and he has given a couple of examples. I think as Moses has said, it's also important for ourselves as coaches. I'm also speaking as a coach. We get the right education, because if we don't get the right education, then the players obviously will not get proper education in the game. So and now posing a question to Moses, you've spoken about the national team, players not have Meshach Senge, who was the coach of the national team, and he spoke about the same issues. So now you as a coaching mentor, a coach's trainer, Moses, what do you think about passing the right information to the coach, and then the coach now passes to the players? Are we doing a good job in it, or do we need to do something about that?
Okay, here I'll use your forum just to pass this information. The reason why these European teams from Europe are successful is that the coaches are not in competition. They're complementing each other, because what Juguna said initially, what's the joy of playing club hockey? What's the joy of playing for university team? So that we try and cascade it up to have a very good national team. The club I work in, these guys are so open, and even the team. No, look at this. When our team is going to play a team outside the town, it's the responsibility of that team to record the games and post it in an open forum where I can see their past games. You understand? So the mindset here is that, yes, all of us are competing, but you're complementing each other. You understand? So first and foremost, we need to change our attitude about our Kenyan coaches, because sometimes maybe you've beaten me, and then you have seen a weakness. I don't. For me, I feel in the long run it's about the players, because this player who's playing for you next year might play for another different team. So we need to start building our mindset to a development mindset that this player is not only for the opposite team; he's a Kenyan player. And if you're able to see a weakness, you should be able to address it. But now, I find it's a culture it has not been there for us, and I think it's a most us Africans don't do it. Coaches, whatever I have is my secret. I put it in my chest. Okay? Here, it's a secret, but they open. And okay, of course, the nitty-gritty you won't say, but and after a game, these coaches sit together and say, "But hey, how was today's game? What do you think we can improve?" He's asking the opposites. So for me, I think for us to be successful in this, is that all the coaches should understand in the long run, if we are doing a good job in our club level, and we see as all of us are custodian of the game, if I see an opponent player who can be better, why shouldn't I take time to talk to them without the other coach thinking I'm trying to poach the player? You understand? So in the back of our mind, we need to bring in a culture where we should try and complement each other. I know for me, I try as much as possible when I'm around and I see a great player, even if he's an opponent's team, I'll talk to the coaches and I try to do that. And people are not very comfortable with that. It's a culture we have to start building as us as coaches. Secondly, all coaches here have a forum where they discuss these things, an open forum. And sometimes they sit down and say, "Hey, we're having a problem with our national team. What do we think we can do?" You understand? So the national team is not a responsibility of the head coach of the national team. It's a responsibility of all the coaches, because all of them put their hands together to make a success. A good example is Belgium. Belgium, they're so strict about what the coaches are doing in the club level. Why? Because they say if you're doing a right job there, the job in the national team become easy. So I think, Simon, the challenge we should have is how can we as coaches be able to see this is our problem and how can we address it? Because sometimes we put the problem to the federation, and it's us, because we are the ones who are dealing with the players. Are we investing in the right way with the players? Are you understanding? And if not, if I know Njugush is a good mental coach, why can't I call Njugush? Please come work with my team. They are not strong mentally. If I know, I know, like Meshak Senge is a very good coach, technically and tactically. And if you ask him, he will not say no. But you see, now in our mindset is that so we need to break that out. Honestly, that's one handicap. If we're able to deal with it, I think we'll start seeing a lot of goodwill with even our players. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you, especially in terms of the way you've said. Yes, you've said coaches should not feel that they are competing against each other. Of course, competition is part of life. Like I'm competing, let's say, and Jugush teams, we are competing. But I think the point you are bringing in is as much as we are competing, let's say at club level, high school level, we should also have a common goal. And there's something I've been saying for quite some time now is sometimes, okay, not sometimes, I feel that most of us coaches, we are a one-man show. And I'll give an example of teams that have a team of coaches and they've worked well to have a successful season. Let's go back to last season. Look at the likes of Butali, look at the likes of Blazers, look at the likes of Wazalendo. They have a team of coaches who sit down before, during, and after the game and discuss how they can improve the game, how they can beat the opponent. And you've seen even they've discussed the recruitment process. Now, you look at most of the clubs, they only have one coach and they struggle a lot. Because you see, there comes a point where a single mind will not have all the ideas in the world. And I like what you said. You have a team of coaches, you work with a team of coaches that you complement each other within the club. So is it a mentality, as you said, is it a culture we need to change? Because we've had a lot of people, like I've had lessons with you, you've trained me to become a coach, and we've had lots of coaches attending those sessions, but you never see them anywhere. You don't see them as assistant coaches or as physical trainers or as technical trainers. Is it something that probably it's a mindset we need to change?
Me,
and even as you answer that,
yes.
Mose, before you answer that, probably you can also combine it with this one. Dosi says that she feels coaching accreditation by FIH should be open and not just to a select few, because we have talent that needs to be tapped. And then she differs with both of you, and she says that on the point of coaching, and she says that has he ever seen a Teta sitting with his opposite team to evaluate and analyze each other's players that can be done at national team level and not at club level?
I think I'll answer Dosi on that part before Moses comes in.
Okay.
I follow football a lot, and not only the playing beat, also the coaching beat. Coaches, especially European coaches, they have a lot of forums that they discuss. We might not particularly know whether they discuss players or not, but as Moses said, I'm not sure about in hockey. But these coaches meet, like before every season, these coaches meet and evaluate and say, this is the direction we want European football to take. Also at national level, the FA, and someone can also go and look out for that. The FA coaches usually have forums. These forums, it's a part where they get to discuss, like they are told, these are the targets. Let's say if you have Spanish players, these are the targets. So they can sit and discuss. They might not discuss particular players, but they, as Moses has said, I think the point he was trying to bring out is these coaches sit and discuss and say, this is the direction we want our country to take. I think that was the point, not particularly saying Ati Moses and myself can sit down and discuss about
nitty-gritties. I think I mentioned that. But probably you can answer Moses the bit of coaching accreditation by FIH being opened to all and not just a select few.
There, I would really like to make something very clear there, and I think we need somehow to change also our mindset. Why I'm talking about it, I feel the way FIH operates. First, the National Association. FIH will never call you to a course if you don't attend your National Association courses. The FIH courses, it's an expansion from after doing some courses in the national. For example, in this setup, Kenya Hockey Union is the one who has the mandate. And I'm saying this because I had gone through them, and and sometimes I've tried to do things differently, but I only realize that there's a national federation has the mandate of certifying coaches. Now, if they feel that you have gone through that, then you can go to the Africa and then the FIH courses. I understand what you're saying, and I think I sit in the coaching and development committee, and these are the things we are discussing, that we should have more workshops and more courses so that we can be able to accredit our coaches, so that when there's international courses, they are able to go. But maybe I can just say that I think it's something that we really need to work on more. Secondly, I think the coaches themselves have to show intention of growing. And I think this is a problem I've been having, is that, Simon, you have said very well. Last year with Kenya Hockey Union, we did a lot of initial coaching levels and level ones. Jagush, most of the people want to get the certificate. But now, when you want to see where the certificate it is being used in, or if you're trying to see how they are helping the players, it becomes, it doesn't really add up. For example, maybe you accredit about 100 coaches, then only 3 or 4 or 5 are active. So you understand? So I'm not saying it's a bad way, but I understand what Dosila is saying, but I think also from the committee we are sitting in Kenya Hockey Union, we said we have to now spread these courses wide. Now from there, now we are able to call international coaches to come. Before the Corona thing came in, we were supposed to have International Hockey Federation course in Nairobi during this time when we were supposed to have a tournament for the TAP program. You understand? And now that's they advertise and they say these courses are going to be there. We expect 20 people, or maybe, sometimes maybe 3 come in. Maybe we can do a bit better about how we communicate it, you know. But I feel that's a way to go. But the challenge is still, personally, I would love to see more coaches that have gone through the trainings do something on the ground, or just as Simon you said, be attached to somewhere. So what I'm doing in Juguna right now as Hockey Farm, I've been having, last year I had 3 coaches who they are in my program for mentorship. Okay, one of them is doing a very good job now in KU. Is Richard Wandera, and there's Collins Chelotti. They stayed in the program for 1.5 years. You understand? And now, I am very confident to say that if I'm not afraid, Simon, and you know it, I'm not afraid to say, hey, Simon, me naenda, check care of the team. Why? Because I believe the only way we are going to develop coaches is not only the coaching courses. It's only you also going to sit under a coach so that you have a feel of the coaching. And I think most coaches here don't want to work under somebody. You understand? And I think that's a mindset we have to change. I don't know if I've said it very well. I believe the only way we are going to grow.
Sorry to cut you short. As I was saying, we have this mentality that becoming a head coach is the only thing you should become. I think that's the wrong mentality. Because I was saying we should have, like I was saying, video coaches, people who analyze video. You should have technical coaches. We should have physical trainers. So sorry to cut you short.
2 things. What I'm hearing from you, Moses, is apart from what Moses has said, being able to sit at someone's feet and learn, and be ready for it. But even as head coaches, you're able to groom someone who will basically take over from you, so that that way you inculcate the playbook for the club, if I can call it so, because you mentioned that, so that you are able to have continuity in a team. And we know that, for example, armed forces, this is how they used to play. When they come into the game, this is how they'll push a certain team to play. Or even, for example, Wazalendo is known to play a fast-paced game. So when they get into the game, we know the first 5 minutes will be running. So if you are physically unfit, then you are at the wrong place. You will be caught flat-foot. 3 or 4 goals may be scored in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then they slow down, and then they come back up in the second half. So that's good. Dosi keeps sending this message, so allow me to just keep reading them. And she says also that she also suggests that we encourage women coaches to be in charge of female teams, and the opposite to be true. The trend currently is not workable for current female coaches, team managers, and I don't know what an S&C trainers is, and also dietitians, etc. Yeah.
S&C is strength and conditioning.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay, I don't know how I can say this without sounding very...
Speak as it is, my brother. Here we speak as it is.
Let me tell you the truth. There are some certain players. For me, there's some certain players who played, and right now they're managing the teams and can go to the next level. But it's a bit challenging because we need to. First and foremost, I see where she's getting with the accreditation part. Because, for example, coaching the national team is not easy. Yeah, by God's grace, I've been there from 2015. It's not easy. There's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of... I feel, and I think FIH is doing that. They are really encouraging lady coaches to take teams and to progress. It's a good notion. But now the question is, how many coaches do we have who can coach at that high level? Maybe it's a challenge to the ladies' side. It's a challenge to the ladies' coaches. Because, for example, I can say it here openly. I feel, and this is my thought process. We've had great players before in our country who played even World Cups. Talking about Helen Chemtai, Dosila is also among them. We have, can I remember all these people? There was Gladys Nyakwaba, all those people who played. So now, this is what I was saying, Simon. Do we have a setup where we are able to mentor these coaches from being great players to great coaches? Because a coaching course will not make you a great coach. A coaching course will just give you knowledge. And also put in an environment where you're able to interact with the good coaches. The question is, do we have a program where we are able to help them? Because I personally think Dosila, like all those generation of great players who played at high length, they've had great experience. Yeah, they have felt the game in a different way. But did we have an environment where we could be able to graduate them and not graduate them? We can mentor them into coaching and help them going there. So for me, I think, and I'm still going to insist in this. I think that we should do more of mentorship. The other thing also, I think coaches should do. I think, Simon, you did it, and some coaches used to do it. When the national team is training, some of these coaches should come and see what this is happening, or also help to assist. And I think this is a challenge where we've been having, even the national team, because you find maybe there are 3 coaches, but the other coaches, that's an opportunity for you to come in and do what? And try and see what is happening down there and learn. Okay? So, Jugush, it's a chicken and egg situation. Yes, women coaches are great. But now, if I ask this question, how many teams internationally do you see them being coached by women? And how? Because they have a system in their country where they are mentoring these coaches. You understand? Because it's not easy at the high end. But I do agree. We have the caliber of coaches who can coach nicely. We have great people who, if mentored in the right way, and are put in an environment where they can grow. It's about growing every single day. Yeah, nobody has a monopoly of information, but it's about us putting the foot forward and pressing. I agree with Dosi. We need to have more lady coaches. We need to have more of them also come coaching courses. We need to have more of them. For example, when the national teams are training, they should come and try and assist them, and just try to see what is happening. Maybe that could be a very good starting point for us to see a lot of change in our coaching behavior and our ability to work with other coaches.
Okay, good. I want us to briefly talk about our mental endurance. I think you and I had this discussion on WhatsApp that, and even here, when we started this show, you alluded to it, that we have such a great team, but our major problem has been mental endurance. How are we able to overcome this? And this is not just a problem for hockey. This is a game that a problem that cuts across all our team sports. Yes.
Well, I'll start saying this, but when I start coming to Europe, one of the things I wanted to learn from them is how they manage their mental strength, because you find that there might be three goals down, and they're acting like there's nothing which is happening. On the other side, for us, when you're 2 goals up, we have finished the whole game. You understand? Partially.
I remember a game in South Africa.
Yes, please.
I will not mention which one it was.
I was there. Please, that's about it. Anyway, on a very serious note, I think this is something we should really address. And one thing they do here a lot is they train on the specific scenarios. So, for example, when you come here, the first training, you wonder what is really happening, because you find, like, if it's defenders, I'm just giving an example how I've seen how they manage it. If it's defenders, normally they are playing 4 defenders versus 5 attackers. So they play a scenario where the defenders are less, and they are playing under a lot. With the attackers have a numerical advantage, and they are using the circle to train this. So for me, I used to say, this is unfair. The defenders are getting tired. And one guy told me, you know what, Moses, the only way we can make the defenders realize what they need to do when they're outnumbered is putting them in a situation where they're outnumbered. So we have to train the game scenarios that we expect. In a scenario here, I see sometimes they train, if they are training a practice match, one team has 5 people, one has 4. And it goes on like that. So I think one of the things we need to do, first and foremost, is to understand we should do a proper need analysis of our own players, of our own system of plays, on our own, I think on our own weaknesses. Okay? And I'm very happy because this is a discussion Meshach, Senge, and I, and the most coaches we've been discussing, because Jigush, some of the teams we have, when our players click, nobody wants to play us. But when they crumble, everybody wants to play us. So you see, so in a good day, we are very good. But it means it goes back to us as the coaches. Okay, have we been able to identify where our weaknesses are? Are we investing on that? So when it comes to mental training, I feel, and from the beginning I talked about it, Two things we should do. Number one, we should have a very open discussion with our players about our weaknesses, because if we say the national team is directly linked to our club teams. So you understand? And again, it goes back to where, Simon, to the coaching. It goes back again to where? To the high schools and to the universities. And then again, it's just pointing to one place, Njugush. What are we doing with these people? Because these are mentality created from high school. A good example, there are some players you'll find in their clubs, they are supernatural. Or you have a player, when they're playing in their own club, in their own setup, they do everything. When they are taken to a different setup, they can't function. So that one automatically tells you something to do with what? With the mental part. So for me, I feel number one, we need first to accept that we have some weaknesses which we have to address as coaches coaching in Kenya. Okay, we have to look at the past games because if you look at it, it's like history repeats itself. So it means that's a problem we have. So I can just say this by giving a good example of the team which I really admire here. There's a team, the Belgian national team. One of the coaches is a good friend of mine, and this is a question I ask him over and over. And he said one thing they do. They start coaching this from the age of 8, 9, 10. They start with the systems of plays and why those systems should work. And if they don't work, they have second and third option on that. And who makes the calls is the players. Why? Because they've been educated to it and they're the ones who are making the decisions in the pitch. So mentally, I think number one, and it's just like Njuguna, you, for example, where you work, when there's a problem, you just don't address the problem. You have to address the root of the problem. And then we go again, how do we set up a process where this problem, even if it occurs, we are able to do what? To have a fallback place. So the mental part, Njuguna, is a very deep thing, but I just think if we talk about coaching, we need to put our players in scenarios where those problems will occur. Because you can never train anybody awareness. You have to put them in a situation where they have to be aware. I remember when I was playing, I was a coward. I could not stop the ball. So what they used to do, they used to put me in the goalposts. They used to call it firing squad. Have you ever been firing squad, Simon? And they put all the heavy hitters on the top of the circle. So what were they training me? So I was a coward. They have to put me in a situation where bravery comes by force because you don't want that ball to hit you. So I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just saying we need to from what I've seen here, we need to look at situations and train our players how to operate in those situations by putting them over and over in those situations. I don't know if I've tried to make it a bit clearer.
I think you've tried to make sense of it. I want to ask you two quick questions before we do our trivia. So at the end of this show, we have to ask you quick fire questions. And I think I need to recoin this and say Simon's trivia. This is how we'll be calling it. So you are the second person. The Agunda sisters were the first one. So today you're on the hot seat. So two quick questions, and this is a follow-up to the national team as a national team coach. And what I can ask you is that what can you identify two areas of weaknesses that you can point out that can be picked up by the current crop of coaches who are mentioned a while back before we got into this corona crisis that can be dealt with? And then the last question is, anyway, just answer that and then we talk about I ask you about the last question.
I think the biggest weakness we have, what I've seen is decision making. Okay, good example: when to pass the ball, when to carry the ball. Okay, our forwards, when to shoot, when to try and get a short corner. You understand? Our defenders, when to tackle. So basically, the problem we have is the decision making. You know, because sometimes I feel we might have trained very well, but in the game time, we make the wrong decision at the wrong time. You know, and it's something, again, I would like to say it should start a bit earlier, because getting a player to the national team and they haven't gone through this before, it becomes a challenge. And that's why in Njuguna, I'm still saying this. If we can go back to the stages, to the basic training on how to make the right decision, you know, it makes right. Yes, but that's one. Number two, I think the other number one is decision making. The other one, I think it's our basic skills have to really improve. When I say basic, I'm talking about the technical part. We need to know. We need how to trap the ball better. You know, it comes by training over and over again. You need to know when to give a hard pass, a soft pass. You know, just our skills sometimes. And sometimes you might watch the league. A very good move happens, then in the final parts, nothing don't go well. So I think those are the two most important things. I believe with the current crop of players we have, if a decision making improves, and two, if we really invest a lot in our basic and technical skills, trust me, we can run like crazy. Nobody can run like Kenyans. You know, we have the right skills. We can eliminate players, but we need to have the basics right and the decision making. I think those are the two things I feel can change a lot in our setup. Okay.
Quick question before we go to Simon's trivia. Congratulations, 6 years running Hockey Farm. It's never been easy. Tomorrow, as you celebrate an anniversary, probably tell us, how has the journey been, and what do you can you project probably where do you want Hockey Farm to be in the next 5 years?
Wow. It's been I say it has been adventure. Adventure is like adventure, you know, like when you go to a forest and you know you're going somewhere, you're supposed to be in a certain place and you have to find your way out. I think for me it's been a learning journey. A lot of disappointments on the way, but it's part of the process. I think the hardest, not the hardest, the ability to change a hobby into a profession is not easy. But I think I'm very grateful to, first and foremost, to my family. They've been very, very supportive. My wife sometimes used to think I'm crazy, that I'm leaving a good job to try and make money out of hockey sticks, which I have not made. You know, so first and foremost, Njuguna, I think a lot of credit goes to my family, my wife, Irene, and the kids. They really supported me following this. But one thing I'm very happy about, Njugush, I can sit here and say that we've done good. We have contributed, no matter how little we have contributed. We have contributed to betterment of game. I remember 2015, Hockey Farm was the first company to bring Alistair Fredericks in Kenya. After a very, very long time, the first time we had a high performance coach coming in Kenya. We had a course in Nairobi and Mombasa. I thought I'll make money out of it. I didn't make money, you know. So, but out of that, as we kept on going, we've been learning so much. We've been giving back to the society, like a lot of workshops, which sometimes are not published, but sometimes we do things in school. I remember St. John's Kaloleni in Giriama. We've worked a lot with them. We've in Kakamega also. We work with some schools. I am a happy person because where I am right now, I think in the coming years we'll see a lot of things. Like number one, my dream and my desire is to have more than 10 players of Kenyan descent playing in Europe. That's the only way that our standards will go up. Why? Because realistically speaking, the infrastructure back home is not the best. But if we are able to do that, we end up building a good team. Two, my desire is we do a lot of coaches education and just mentor a lot of coaches. I don't want people to go through what I've gone through to know what I've known. If we can make it easier, it becomes better. So when I come back, we are going to roll a lot of coach mentorship programs so that we identify coaches who are able to go further and we stay with them 1 year, 2 years, you know, just bring them in the process. It's a game of patience. And finally, my dream will be soon or later maybe to have a club, you know, back home, to run a club, to start a club, and lastly, I've been dreaming about having of us in Kenya starting an indoor hockey. That is when it's off season. You know, we can have indoor hockey because a lot of development of players here, when they play indoor hockey, it improves their tactical skills. So those are the things I'm looking at. But key of it, as my mantra is, Njuguna, we need to polish. We need to polish the talent for excellence. Talent is fantastic, but if it's not guided very well, that's what it remains. Yeah. So as I celebrate tomorrow, I think I've been looking at the things we've done and maybe how we can do things better, and I think we will do a much better and more. What I talked about coaching, the hockey companies should complement each other and see how we can bring the game up. It's not about just focusing as Hockey Farm or Hockey Kenya or HockeyKE, or we need to find a way where we should work together and bring up the game, because I think the kids we have right now, they're fantastic and they need to play better than we have done. And I think that's so it's something we need to sit down and look at it. We need to complement each other. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good. Before I make my final comments, probably let's go to the trivia and then I will read a few comments and put a way forward. I have a challenge for you, Moses.
Wait, Simon, don't kill me, eh?
Acha kulia
simple one. It's a simple one. Basically, we are going to ask you to say the letters of the alphabet from A to Z, and then tutakwambia stop. So mali ile letter utastopia, we'll ask you to name 5 things starting with that letter. I think Jugush will keep the time. Jugush, you decided to give our guests 15 seconds.
15, yes.
15. 15 is enough. So basically,
let me get my clock.
So basically, Mose, you'll just say the letters of the alphabet silently in your head, and then when I say stop, your letter ndio tunafanya kazi nayo.
Okay.
So yeah. So for example, acha Jugush afanye dry run. So Jugush, start. Stop. Which letter?
E.
Sawa. So for example, I'll ask Jugush an animal. Nitamuuliza
elephant.
Well, okay.
Sawa.
Okay.
Si kazi ngumu.
Well, Juguna unasema hivyo kwa sababu siwe uko hapa.
Sawa. So, Jugush, I'll tell you when to start the timer. So, Mose, start. Stop. Which letter?
K.
Sawa, K. Okay. Jugush.
I've started.
2, 1, start. Name a car.
Kruger.
Food. Ukishindo unaweza pass.
Pass.
Haya. City.
Kingston.
Stop.
Animal.
Kangaroo.
Stop.
Haya, sawa. So, wacha nimuulize ya mwisho. Person.
Kagochi.
Obviously. Okay, so Aka, you said Kruger.
Yeah.
Jugush, you are the judge.
Yes. It let it pass. I will give it a mark.
Okay. Food ulisema pass. Kuna food yote inaanza na K.
Kuna Kales.
Kales ni sukuma bwana.
Si ndio? Si ni chakula.
Ni food.
Kwani jamhuri ya Mungu kufunzwa Kisukuma kwa Kizungu ni nini?
Wacha maana ya jamu bwana.
Now we know where you are during the Kiswahili lessons.
Yeah.
City, ukasema Kingston. I expected you to say Kisumu, lakini sawa. That's a point. Animal, ukasema kangaroo. That's a quick thinking there. Person, ukasema Kagochi. So you got 4 out of 5. I think the first time we tried it wasn't successful because my audio was muted, but Tracy got 3 out of 5 as well. So I think Kagochi amesurpassed Tracy. So Tracy, I think next show you'll have to step up. So Kagochi, well done. Inaonekana mental strength yako iko sawa.
Najaribu. Tuna manage.
Sawa. So as we come to a close, I'd like you to mention a few comments, to read a few comments. Also, we give shout outs to our viewers as we end the show.
Yeah.
Yes. Thomas Musheni says, my only wish is that coaches in Kenya and the union at large be welcoming to the young guys who are not to feel threatened. The union should share information about coaching courses outside the country and in good time. Tracy says about the women coaching, she takes up the challenge. Thank you so much, Tracy. Zach says that ask Kagochi to look for Roger Van Genk. That guy could have taken Kenya very far. He had lots of knowledge about hockey. Otherwise, hockey has to start from the primary level coming up, not from high school. That's a very good challenge from him. Observation from that. Duncan, I think from the other side said, great job, guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Before I let Simon take this home, I think my challenge to you, Kagochi, is take a young man and a young lady and mentor them. Two who are open to be a coach in the future, and just take them up. That is my challenge to you, even as you celebrate your 6th anniversary tomorrow. That is how I'll put it.
I take the challenge. I will do that.
Good stuff. You know, I follow you up very well, so I'll take it up.
I know. and Jiguna, have I failed anywhere? I've never, no. And I would stand now. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Simon, take us home.
Thank you to the likes of Rip. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing these names right. Ian Orunga, who's been watching, Said Rashid, Norbert Kea, the likes of Asimba, who never missed to watch. So, asanteni sana. Thanks, Kagochi, for being our guests. You've given us a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and we hope to get you to especially one show in our studio. Keep safe. I hope you are keeping safe. Jugosh, Maajabu, I think we'll give your kids some chocolate. Leo hawajakusumbua ama ulifunga mlango vizuri.
Leo nimeingia safe room kabisa.
Amesema amefunga hiyo mlango imefungwa both sides.
Both sides. Yeah. So thank you guys again for watching. Remember, this is the Hockey Republic. We usually have a show every Wednesday and Friday. Next week's show might reschedule a bit to a Thursday, but we'll confirm. Remember, on Fridays we host the show on Hockey Kenya's page that is owned by Jugush and his team. This has been HockeyKE. Naito Simon Mwangi. And once again, guys, keep safe. This COVID-19 thing is serious, so if you can stay at home, stay at home. I've had guys going out to play football. I know Moja and watch size. Please don't go. Just stay at home. You can. Okay, guys. Final thoughts. Let's start with our guest.
Good. I think it's.
Let's start with Mose.
Yeah. Jugush, Simon. I'm really, one thing I'm very happy is that and I was telling Douglas, who is with me here, the player, I was telling him, when I look at things now, I'm happy because 2016, when I started Hockey Farm, I think I was the only person who's trying to venture into, and I'm seeing companies coming in, and I'm really proud about that. And hey, we are responsible. We are responsible to try and bring the game back to where it is. We cannot leave it all to the federation. If we do our bit, trust me, everybody will do their bit and we'll get there. So I'm very, very happy. Thank you for having me in your show. I'm really honored to be able to speak to you guys.
Jugush, Paul and Nilikukat short. Your final.
No problem. See you on Friday. We have the Hockey family. So we have another great surprise for you. This time around, I think we are doing a mixture of a gentleman and a lady. Yeah, so keep it here. And please, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to get in touch on our various social media pages. That is Hockey Kenya and HockeyKE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.